And IndyCar was my focus as a kid growing up, and just sat there with great intent watching, and to know that Rick's won here 4 times, at a young age, that was the stuff. I mean, he was the man. And then with Jeff, Jeff gave me a lot of hope as a young driver. I was just in the off-road trucks at the time, but to watch his career path leave, just from a small track down the street and turn into what it did in stock cars, and then my career started to go that way. I guess I realized, one, that he was opening doors for drivers like myself, and then Jeff's had an amazing career as well, and we all know the story from that point on. So I guess to sum it all up, it would be my heroes, and for a variety of different reasons, are 4-time winners here, and it would just mean the world to me to be up there with the guys I idolized from such a young age.
Let's go with Chuck Howard, Jeff Gluck. Go ahead, Chuck.
Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. Jimmie, first off, if you ever agree to a 7:45 a.m. session again, we're going to have to step outside.
I'm an early riser, so I apologize.
Hey, in a couple of weeks we go back to the Glen. Do you think often about the day in the Nationwide Series when you tried to leave the ballpark? And secondly, how did you bounce back so well to end up winning 2 times at the Glen? It seems like you really took to that track, from day one.
I don't think I've won there, though.
I
don't think I've won at the Glen.
I might have. Well, see, it's so early. I had my wrong note. But,
no, but it's been good to me. Out of the road courses, I guess we did win at Sonoma, but in general, that place has been very, very good to me. A track that fit my style right away. But when I look back on that crash, unfortunately, it kind of rung my bell, and I don't have a lot of thoughts that linger from the crash. But I look back, and it still runs on reels now. Take a little bit of pride in the fact that I was the idiot in the car. And then the second part to it is, Jeff Gordon was a key part of me coming to Hendrick. He didn't know who I was prior to that wreck. When I was standing on the roof of the car, he's like, "Who is this guy?" That's when he first started paying attention. So, granted, it was a scary moment in my life, but looking back on it now, it really led to a lot of good things.
Jeff Gluck.
Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. Jimmie, for so long this track was, strictly kept to, I guess, the major circuits, and now you have Nationwide coming here. As a driver, does that affect the mystique at all, or the prestige that so many other series are now using the track, where for so long it was, I don't know if it was more special, or you know what I mean, as far as prestige, anything like that, or does that not matter to you at all?
To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, when I first heard, my mind instantly went to how great of an opportunity it is for those series, for the drivers competing, and really for the winners. Those are, in most cases, you have up-and-coming drivers and teams in a tough economy, in a tough sport, trying to raise notoriety for themselves. So my mind instantly went to, wow, what an opportunity. It wasn't, it's going to affect the history. It was more about a great opportunity for a lot of people.
Go to Bob, Don,
Dan.
Dan. I knew it was close. Dan, gentleman here, and then Justin.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Carl Edwards done for crew chief change during the off week. Could you imagine trying to fight for a chase spot and having a crew chief change at the same time, especially because you've been with Chad for so long, kind of Carl has been with Bob for so long. What do you think it does to a driver to have that kind of a change?
It's tough, but they're at a point in time where they have to do something different. And I'd imagine that from the final few laps at Homestead until now has been the toughest part. And now they probably turn the page and moving forward with the decisions they've made. And I would assume it brings a little bit of new life and excitement to the program. I've always admired Carl and Bob in the way that the respect they've had for one another and how they've dealt with tough times in the past. And I think they did a great job here, and a decision's been made. So I'm just assuming if I was in that position, if I was Carl, it's time to look forward. We turned the page, we made a decision, and you had a short period of time to get stuff done for this year. When it was closing. So knowing Carl, I mean, he's a strong race car driver, strong-minded, good leader. All the qualities needed to make the best of the situation, he naturally has. So, time will tell what really happens, but they've got to get going, and they clearly make decisions to do that.
Go with Dan, then we'll go to the gentleman in the green shirt, and then to Dustin. Go ahead.
Dan Bridges, Indianapolis recorder. NASCAR places such a premium on their diversity program. Can you talk personally about the importance of that to you and the sport overall?
Yeah, it is very important. It's an expensive sport, and a sport that, to be competitive at this level, it's a sport that you need to start doing as a kid, and a very young kid. And I know that we got to a certain point with my family. I wasn't even on four wheels where it got too expensive. So there are a lot of challenges to really develop young drivers, regardless of gender, regardless of all backgrounds, whatever it is. So that's the tough part, and I think our sport became more mainstream and appealing in recent time, and it's going to take a while to develop the diverse group that we think we could see in the garage area. So it is an important focus for NASCAR, but they fully understand, and I think everybody in the garage area does, that it just takes time to develop drivers and bring them along. Okay.
Jimmie Johnson with the Indiana Daily Student. With the differences in the track, this track compared to the other tracks that you race at, what do those differences as far as a challenge pose to you as a driver, and how difficult is it to run at this track for the first time?
It's really tough. If you make a mistake on a corner here, you have such a long straightaway to pay a penalty, and a tenth lost in the corner compounds to 3 or 4 tenths at the end of the backstretch or front stretch. And turns 1 and 3, you need to be right, and you can lose time, but you just have the short chutes really lose the time. But if you're wrong off of 2 and 4, you pay the price down the whole straightaway. And yes, we have a couple extra sets of tires here today, but no testing, 1 day of practice. So as a new team or driver coming in, it just takes time to get it right. And it's such a big track that you run 8 laps and you've been out there, 15 minutes. So it's just a tough track to get right. Experience does pay. It took me a long time to figure it out, and it may look just kind of simple to drive around the track at times, but it's one of the most demanding tracks we're on from a driver's mental capacity, the mental side, and line specific. It's almost as line specific as road course. Where a lot of the ovals we have tons of room, and you go in the corner, if you slip up, you can run the second lane or third lane, whatever it is. You can't do that here. You'll lose way too much time.
Go with Dustin, Mike, and then with Chris Jacobs. Go ahead.
Dustin Long, SI.com. Want to get your perspective looking at the issue of sportsmanship in the series, what you guys do off the track, but also how you guys treat yourself on the track, and how that has evolved in your career at the college level.
In which way? As far as being respectful to one another, or?
How you guys treat each other on, how much more do you do on the track? How much information do you share off the track? Is that still as much as what it was when you first started? What's it like on the track?
With teammates or others? It's really tough to have friendships outside of your core group of guys on your team, because the sport's so regulated that you don't even have to say the area that you're focused on with your race team. Just through a few comments, if somebody's paying attention, they can pick up on what you're working with, and that makes some friendships tough outside of your own home base. But I feel like sportsmanship in general, it's really dependent on the overall relationship. I mean, there's some guys that you click with and you're friends with, and things work on and off the track. There are other situations that don't. There are situations where you have a friendship that you're on the track and someone takes advantage of you and it upsets you, and you create like kind of two different situations, an on track and an off track, which I've experienced. But the longer I'm in this sport, the more I realize that in time everything comes back around. And I see, I can use Tony maybe as an example, or Kevin. The longer you're in it, as I mentioned, things keep circling around, and it just doesn't pay to always handle things how you first want to and how you want to react when the pressure of a race and the frustrations there. You know, it just leads to a long-lasting issue. I mean, all 43 guys are typically on the racetrack the next week, and we have 38 of these things that we do, and you can just be mad all the time if you want. So I think sportsmanship is evolved in our sport, and there's more camaraderie now than I think I saw when I first came in, although I was a bit intimidated when I first came in and didn't have the relationships. But I think that the camaraderie is there now more than it's ever been. I'm not sure if that translates into what the fans want to see on the track, but I think there's a better, you know, respect and friendship throughout the garage than ever before.
Was there one on-track incident where somebody in essence got you back that taught you you're going to be around for a long time, you're going to do things a certain way, this is what your future can be, something like that?
Yeah, I'd say the best example for that would be this year's Daytona 500. It was at Talladega, I don't know, 04, 03, somewhere in there. Going into turn 1, I'm trying to help Elliott Sadler. He's in the 38 M&M's car. I end up pushing him too hard into turn 1, create a huge wreck. We all crash. You know, Elliott handles the situation well, knew it wasn't intentional. Fast forward to this year's Daytona 500. He's trying to help me, push me through the tri-oval, start of the race. I crash. You know, people were probably expecting me to come out of the car and just, you know, shred Elliott apart, but wasn't the case. I mean, I didn't mean to crash him 8 years ago, whatever it was, and I know he didn't mean to crash me. You know, and if I was younger, I probably would have got out of the car and, you know, been an ass about it. But when you're in it long enough, you see both sides of it.
Let's go, Mike, and we'll end with Chris. Go ahead.
Mike down from frontstretch.com. So you've never really been out of shape or unhealthy, but you've taken up to triathlon training of late. As we head into the dog days of summer and with the oppressive heat that's been hitting the Midwest, have you found that triathlon training is making it even easier for you to deal with the heat inside the car?
From a physical output standpoint, it's making things a lot easier. You know, the heat, getting strong in the heat, it's a different game. I mean, there's slow gains there, and so much of it has to do with hydration. And with the training for the triathlons, and dehydrating myself doing that and doing it in the heat of the day to build the strength, and it's a tough cycle to keep the hydration there, so that when I show up to the track and have to race on Sunday, that I'm there. So it's been an interesting challenge and one that I really enjoyed, and you know, still going to pursue. I mean, I had such a great experience with the first triathlon that I've picked up another training program and looking forward to doing my second whenever we get some free time, which probably doesn't look like until the season's over. But I don't even know if they still have competitions going on then. But definitely had a great experience and know all the benefits that come from it. And it can't hurt. I know that much. It's only going to make me better.
Question, Chris?
Yeah, Chris Shank, Associated Press. What did you do with your off week?
Off week was traveling. We went through Europe. My family went over to, after the Kentucky race, I took my family over to France, and we had other families in our neighborhood that were there with their kids as well. The guys kind of retreated back to go to work, and the ladies stayed, and I joined up with my family after Loudon, and spent some more time in France, some time in Italy, and then came home. So got to get back to the training and lose a few pounds. I mean, eat more baguettes and butter and all the bad things over there that I never meant to, but it was a great off weekend for us.
When did you actually get back?
Got back Wednesday. Yeah.
Jimmie, great seeing you here this
Yeah.
morning.
Thanks, everybody.
And thank you, and we'll wish you a lot of luck this weekend.